Well, hello everyone. Today we're gonna be going over all the green cards that have been revealed. The first one that we're gonna have is Ace. The green character, it says 5 cost, 5k power. Okay, it's a Whitebeard Pirate and it's an Odyssey. So you can play out of the leader and you can play out of it's gonna restand. You can play for 3 basically. It's a 2k counter, so it already is gonna make the cut for the for this type, or the Odyssey archetype. If you have 2 or more rested characters in play, rest up to one of your opponent's 5 or lower characters. So it kind of goes with the theme with the deck just playing characters that are 5 or less. This was just a 2k counter, so it's an auto included in that deck, as far as I know, as far as I'm concerned, because it just has all the typing and all the cards that you need, of course. Next up, we have Sakatsuki. It's an Odyssey card. I hope I'm saying that correctly. It's a 6 cost card, so it doesn't get played by the leader by paying 3 energy. So it's a little bit of more of a payoff card because it doesn't have any counter either. 7k power, and it says on play if you have 2 or more rested characters, which probably you will try to have for the most part. KO up to one of your opponent's 5 cost or lower characters. So it works very well with the leader. It doesn't have that restriction that green cards have had for a while, which is the character has to be on rest mode. This one just KOs anything 5 or less. So I wonder if this can be used in something like Perona to great effect, where you can just reduce the cost and then you have a higher threshold. You do have to have 2 cards in rest mode, so it could be decent in other decks, but it's definitely just made for this archetype, for the Odyssey archetype, because your cards are gonna come into play in rest mode. I wonder if it also counts this one. If you have 2 or more rested characters in play, so I think it also counts himself. So because all the cards come in rest mode when you play it out of the leader, it's also gonna count this one. So you only have to have another one in rest mode. So it's much better in that archetype for sure. This card will come into play in rest mode and immediately will proc. So definitely a good card for the archetype. I think is gonna make the cut for that deck. All right, and we have another Odyssey card. It's a 5 cost, so kind of what you want to have in this deck, because you're gonna be able to play them for cheaper thanks to the leader. 6k special Odyssey, 7 warlords. The attack is important, of course. 1k counter, and says it's a blocker, so it comes in play into rest mode, but at the end of the turn, if you have 2 or more rested characters, you set this card as active. So it's an active blocker, mainly for this archetype, because it will count itself. It doesn't, I think, if you have 2 more rested characters, yeah. So it's very good for this archetype mainly. And this one, it's a blocker that is gonna be able to restand forever, which is actually pretty good. It's an offensive blocker, which is it's pretty decent as far as blockers go. Okay, and now we have Sanji. Again, same stat line, 5 cost, 6k. Pretty much that's probably the most generic stat line that you're gonna find for this leader. It has a counter, and it says on KO, you may put the top or bottom cards of your life into your hand. So you take a life. You can play a 4 or lower character with either Odyssey or with the Straw Hat from your trash into play. So it could be good, it could be bad. I mean, most of the cards that you want to bring out are 5. So the 4, it doesn't really, I mean, it's gonna bring something. You can also play like a vanilla Zoro, for example, something like that, and use it like you are able to just bring it back. Or you have options. There's a lot of options that you, depending on how the deck is gonna be played, this card could make it or could not. I mean, it's like removal protection. You do have to create a life. I mean, take a life, but I mean, sometimes it's worth it if you wanna play around removal or the other things that are gonna be difficult to play for this deck, of course. So I do think it's gonna make the cut. I don't know how many, but some amount of for sure. Now we have Crocodile. It's a warlord. Odyssey, 1k counter. So this is a card that you can bring back with Sanji. If your leader has this type, which it will in this archetype, this card can be killed by battle by leaders. So it has protection against leaders. I mean, that's okay, but it's not good enough. I don't think this is a card that is gonna probably be played. It has a very low power level. It's not even a 6k. I mean, having protection from leaders doesn't really matter. And yeah, I don't think it's gonna be play. I think it's more like a filler card. Okay, we got an uncommon here. It's a 3-cost law, supernova. That typing is important. Odyssey, 1K counter. On play, you may return one of your characters to your hand. Play up to 1 3-cost or lower Odyssey type card or then Trafalgar Law from your hand. I don't think this card is gonna be played too much. I mean, it's okay, but I don't think it gives you too much. I mean, it gives you bodies that you can have on board, so you can trigger some of your effects when you have to have X amount of cards that have that are on play that are in rest mode. I don't believe it's good enough though. I don't think if it was a 2K counter maybe, but a 1K counter, it feels kind of weird. We'll have to see if it makes the cut, but mostly for the supernova typing. If there is some way to play it in actual law, the red green law, where you can swap into this guy swaps, I don't know, a Bonnie into something else, and then you have a bunch of swaps in one turn, could help. Not entirely sure if that's going to be a card, but it seems like law red green could use this card to some degree. Although it's only locked to Odyssey characters, so I don't know if there's going to be enough for that. Okay, and now for the rares, the secret rares, we have Lim, green character, 3-cost, 5K. It doesn't have any counter, so it's gonna be a good effect. On play, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 Odyssey card, put it into your hand. Already a searcher is pretty good. It can search herself. It doesn't have any restrictions. So it's like the one that we just got from the Foxy Pirates, which we already know that card is very, very good, very strong. So this one is definitely what's gonna make the archetype either flourish or not, because she can search herself. That's pretty good. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. Okay, at the end of the turn, if you have 3 or more rested characters in play, set this card as active. So they have their own protection on this archetype. You're trying to play a lot of cards, so you have the restand. This card with law, I see now the value. Let's go back a little bit, because you can return that card to your hand, play this one for free. Like, you can do the same card and you can recycle that ability. This Lin. So these 2 cards are gonna synergize well. Now I see the reason to play this card on the deck, and maybe a reason to play this on maybe law, on green law. Pretty decent if you can search a couple of Odyssey cards. Let's see if there's some on red. I think there's some on red that you can maybe play, and then a red green law deck can maybe come out of this. So excited for that one maybe. This card is very good, very important for the deck, and I do see it can making some waves, because it can add a 2K, it can add a like their cards, it can add a Sakatsuki, something like that. So this as itself as an engine is pretty good. It's not leader locked. It doesn't have any restrictions. It just says on play, you look at the top 5 and you search for a card. Pretty decent, and definitely is gonna be a good card for sure. Okay, now we have Sabo, another uncommon, 5-cost, 6K. So the standard fat line, you can bring it out with the leader for 3 energy basically. When attacking once per turn, if you have 3 or more rested characters in play, draw 1 card. That is a very, very strong, and it doesn't require you to use a Dawn to activate this ability. So you can just attack for 6 and draw a card. Very strong card. Definitely a card that you want to add to this deck, and one of the reasons to play the deck for sure. Yeah, I mean, this is a very solid card, and you can just have everything rested with the leader ability, so it works very well with the leader. We'll see if any other deck can it be good, maybe, but it requires a lot. It requires you to be very aggressive, because you have to have 3 cards in rest mode. Yeah, this Sabo can be one of them, but you have to have attack with 2 other cards before you can get a draw. And I don't know, that could be a little bit more complicated. Definitely a card for the archetype, for the Odyssey archetype, for that leader. I don't know about if it extends further into any other archetypes, if it's gonna be that good. But yeah, I mean, definitely a decent enough card for sure. All right, and so we have Robin. It's a 4-cost, strike, Odyssey, Straw Hat. So you can bring it up with Sanji. Probably one of the payoffs now that I read the card. So it's 4 5K. And it says on play, if you have 2 or more rested characters in play until the end of your opponent's next turn, all of your characters with this typing cannot be KO'd by effects. So imagine if you play something like Robin into... or one of the better plays, actually, if you play the Luffy film with Robin, and then they both cannot be KO'd. Very strong ability. It doesn't have any leader restrictions. It just says those cards cannot be KO'd. So a solid card for that combo alone, like Luffy film, the 7 cost that just plays a 4 or less, plays a Robin, and you have protection for both cards. Very strong. You can also do something similar in that way with like the with like the Odyssey characters. Maybe you can adapt Luffy to that deck, because you can do like the leader ability, something comes into play into rest mode, then you play the Luffy, which puts this card into rest mode, but they both come into rest mode, and then everything is protected. Yeah, you're not gonna have the Luffy as a blocker for the next turn, but you're still able to play a bunch of cards for free. I mean, that could be good enough. Definitely one of the combos that I want to see if it's good enough, but this card seems to be decent enough to make the cut and definitely make it into the deck. Okay, so we have the new event here. It says Bazooka. It says Connor, if your leader has the Odyssey type, so it's really leader restrictor, you have 2 or more rested characters in play. Up to one of your leader characters gains plus 2k for the turn. That is an interesting ability. I mean, it could be like a 2-off maybe. It has a lot of restrictions, like the leader plus the cards have to be in rest mode, which if we read the cards correctly, a lot of the cards restand at the end of the turn. So actually this restriction that the cards have to be in rest mode might be an actual hindrance in defense. So I don't know if this card is good enough for that reason. KO one of your opponent's rested KO for Kurla characters. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure this card is good enough, but we'll have to wait and see. I have to test it for myself, see over the deck to see if it's gonna be worth it to play it in the archetype. I mean, it's a plus 2k for the turn, so it can save you, quote unquote. And I don't think you have to untap all your cards. So maybe if you're going for game, and or you want the opponent to just the opponent has to go for game or something like that, and then you have this card, is just gonna be like a saving grace. So we'll have to wait and see on this one, of course. All right, and the last event from the new cards, it says main, if you have 2 or more rested characters in play, KO up to one of your opponent's 4 cards or lower characters, and trigger, rest up to one of your opponent's 4 or lower characters. So that's I don't think it's a good card. I mean, it is a KO of 4 or less, but it's an event. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure this card is good. It doesn't have restrictions, but you do have, I mean, little restrictions, but you do have to have 2 or more rested characters. So I don't think it's good. It's a good card. I don't think it's gonna make the cut for sure. I'm not entirely sure, but I highly doubt it. It seems like a very low power for 3 Dawn and having no Connor. I don't think it's good enough, but we'll have to wait and see on this one. All right, and we have a Zoro here. It doesn't have Connor. It has 3/5. I mean, I guess that's the stat line for that with a decent effect, I guess. On play, you may return 1 or more Dawn cards from play into your Dawn deck. Set up to 1 of your Dawn cards from your Dawn deck into play as active. So that card, it's like ramp for the Luffy leader, because you can return 2, you get 2 back, and then this one also gives you another one. So you basically pay 1 Dawn for this card with the Luffy leader, and you also ramp. So actually pretty decent for that reason. I do think you have to play it on Luffy probably. We also got some more reveals. This one is Jazz Up. On red, it says it's a 5 cost, 6k power with Connor, Redhead Pirates. On play, up to one of your leader gains 1k power until the end of the opponent's next turn. Wow, that's a really strong ability actually. Done 1 when attacking, up to one of your opponent's character gets -1 power for the turn. This card is very good in a lot of decks. It's just +1 the leader for the turn on play. Imagine this on something like Law, if you can play maybe this one. I like this one. This one is very good. It has a lot of decks where it can actually be really good. And very decent card. It's gonna definitely gonna see play in a lot of decks, I think. We also got a new blue character, Moji. It's a 2K counter, 5/5. I mean, we'll see the effect. On play, look at the top 5 cards of your deck and reveal up to 1 Richie and put it into your hand. Then play the rest of the cards at the bottom of the deck. And play up to 1 Richie from your hand. So we have to wait and see what Richie does. But I feel like this could be a Nami card because it's a 2K counter, so you don't always have to play it. And it could draw your card, and if the Richie card also draws cards, it could be a Nami card. We'll see what these cards do, but it could be good enough for that archetype if it gets a good enough card that says just draw cards, and then you have some pressure, then you have some draw cards in between. Could be decent enough, I think. We also got some images from the new altars that we're gonna get out of the new reprint set. We have the Amaterasu, Law, 9 cost Chanks. That's a pretty good one because I think it was setting at a high value on this one. We have some Kusans, Isos. Like this one doesn't have an altar, so pretty good on that end. We have Houndblaze. Ooh, this altar is pretty amazing on that end. We have the 6 cost Sabo, which wasn't seen a lot of plays, so I don't think this one is that good enough. The 4 cost Sanji already has an altar, so I feel kind of weird on these cards that already have altars. Could have been another card that doesn't have it. The Zoro, this is the 3000 swords. So this is amazing altar for that card. It's our highly playable card. We have a Chopper, the blocker. I don't know why we have another one of these ones. We already have like 3 different arts for Chopper. Momonosuke, the 1-drop searcher. So that's a nice altar and reprint for that altar. And the Yamato, which is just a reprint, straight out reprint. And again, the Nami. Okay, and we got some more new altars. We have the Luffy, which is I think this is the striker one. So I don't know what they're reprinting that one. There's so many more that could be better than that one. We have the Luffy. I think this one was going for a pretty penny, so it's a decent reprint, I guess. This boa, I'm not entirely sure which one it is. I think it's probably from OP8, Structure Deck 3. Oh, this is the blocker boa. Oh, nice altar, actually. Yeah, that was a good reprint. Then we have the Arlong, which it's a card that didn't have an altar, so really good to give altars to cards that don't have altars. That should be the whole thing, right? Purple Poison, it's a good reprint, I would say, because, I mean, this card is a little bit expensive. Well, I mean, it's around $15, but it's just good to have some of those expensive cards. It's good to have more reprints, of course, as well as Karakuri, of course. This one, it does have different altars and things, but it's an expensive card, and it's a good reprint for that reason. Gecko Moria, I guess for the same logic, Gecko Moria and Flamingo, I don't think they're expensive per se, but it's good to have reprints of somewhat expensive cards, I guess. As well as Kid, of course. Good looking art too. I like the Flamingo one the most, actually. And then we have One Leg Soldier. I mean, that's a really good reprint for that card, I guess. And then we have Otama, which I don't know why we have more reprints on Otama. The card is not expensive or anything like that. We have the Germa 66 Castle Assaulter. Really nice one. I really like that one. And the Kaido Dragon, it didn't need a reprint on this one, but I mean, it's fine. Talking about a card that didn't need a reprint, probably this two didn't need a reprint. The Whitebeard and the Sakatsuki. These cards haven't been meta in a while, and it's just they're not needed as a reprint. No, it could have been something else there instead of these two. And we also have Beige as the last card that we have as a reprint. Again, a card that didn't have an altar, so I guess it's a decent reprint for that reason. But yeah, it's not nearly that important. Then we have some results from this event. 446 players, 9 rounds. Not entirely online regionals in Latin. That's fine. The law was a heavily. It was a great chunk on the pie chart, I guess. These decks have been generally the most consistent decks at this top table, so expect to see this for a while. And the law that won is playing 7 Gordon abilities. Is playing the Soroju. Is playing Bonclay. Okay. It's not playing something like Ace. It's just playing a lot of value. in drawing cards, and yeah, he's just playing. He's playing a lot less minus in effects that other decks. He's playing Sanji for that reason, I guess. Interesting card. It's not. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's correct. More 2K counters is good for this deck, but I mean, it's a very simple. Oh, he's playing more Zoros. A lot of people have cut Zoros from their deck, so yeah, I do like Zoro on Law. I always liked it, so I do think this is a pretty nice addition back to the deck. I think Zoro, both Zoros are in this deck, so they definitely want to go first with this deck. Bonnie went 8-1. This is the highest place in Bonnie. Very simple list. I don't think there's anything new to this list, so they're just playing Bonnie, I guess. That's pretty much it. Everything else is about the same. They're only playing one searcher. I mean, I like the two searcher, but one searcher do get you to the to these cards more consistently, so I guess that could also be fine. I also have the NL list. NL has not changed. I guess they're playing Sabo. In case they stall you out, they have the Sabo to take their own life and KO something. That could be really good. They're playing full playset of the zero cost event, which is very, very good, especially for NL because you get to heal. And they're playing a full playset of Raigo. I mean, it's a good list. I don't have any problems with the list. Basic on what it does, honestly. And for Rob Lucy, we have a very simple. They're playing 2 Ishos, 2 Sabos, and 1 Stussy. That's a lot of top end, but I guess it's fine. I mean, that's all that you need, the top end, and then everything else is. I mean, you do kind of need Isho for some matchups. You kind of need Sabo from some others. I mean, the Stussy is a little bit overboard, honestly, but I mean, I guess it worked out for this person. But it could be a detriment here. Only 3 Ennis Lobby and 3 for the Tempest Kick, of course. Everything else is something that we've seen before. It's a lot of breaks on this deck, so I wonder if that's an issue for whoever is playing this deck. But I mean, definitely Black has lost a lot of popularity, and it's not as good as it was before. So definitely a different kind of meta we're seeing right now. Just to finish off, we have these nice looking new dons that are gonna be coming out. I'm not entirely sure if this is on the reprint set, but look at this one. With Zoro, we have one with Perona, and one I don't know. This is Nami probably. But yeah, I mean, those are really nice looking dons. So excited to see and get my hands on one of these ones for sure. I like the Zoro one the most, honestly. Pretty nice. And yeah, that's all I have for today. Thank you all for watching. Have a good day.